Welcome back. Today I'm going to do a recap of episode 5 of Big Brother, and then I'll get into a little bit of the live feeds from yesterday, last night, a little bit of today. I'm not sure what's happening today. I think there's a little bit of drama maybe with Frenchie. I'm not sure. I heard a little rumor. If you're new here, welcome. Consider hitting the subscribe bell on the all side so you'll get all the notifications, and make sure to hit the like button. So last night, the episode opens after Thursday's HOH. Kyland is very happy. He has won. Tiffany and Derek discuss rogue votes. Are we wearing our Tiffany? Please? I'm trying to start a movement with my teeny tiny itty bitty channel. Let's see. We see that Frenchie asked Tiffany to throw the rogue vote, which we knew about. She agreed to do it on one condition, and this was very smart. She knew if it got back to her, she would have ammo to use against Frenchie. Which seems very unnecessary at this point. I mean, that was thinking ahead, but pretty sure Frenchie's gonna leave this week. We see Claire and Tiffany celebrate privately that they're safe because they're team queens with Kyland on his team. Then we see Tiffany call Frenchie out for gossiping about the rogue votes. They were in the gym, and he was just heading it up in there about, well, do you think it could have been this person? And Tiffany called him out, and she's like, why are you going to do all that? Why are you doing this? Even if Tiffany didn't understand what was going on, it was unnecessary. But so are a lot of things. I'm trying to keep my personal opinions aside. But y'all, it is hard because we're seeing it. Let's see. Then Tiffany warns Kyland about Frenchie. We now see that Travis had warned Kyland before eviction of Frenchie. His promises mean nothing. Kyland's having doubts. We see Kyland get his HOH room. And Tiffany reads the letter. And he's so happy to have made his family so proud. And then we see that Tiffany was getting... we thought that Tiffany was getting emotional about missing her son and back home, blah, 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 blah. It turns out she was having a super secret conversation with Azah, and she just turned it on like nobody's business. I mean, this girl can pivot. She's a really impressive player. I mean, not only is she so entertaining, but her gameplay, I mean, she's always thinking 3 steps ahead and not broadcasting it to the whole house like some other people. But she's really got it together. I think Tiffany's the best we've seen in a few seasons. I really have high hopes for her. I hope that it works out. She's talking to Azah. She's explaining that Frenchie is being really manipulative, and Azah, as we see on the feeds too, she's coming a little bit more out of her shell now, but she really wanted to believe in Frenchie and go with it, but it's becoming clear to Azah now that it's kind of a lost cause. And it's sad because Oz is part of Team Jokers, which is Frenchie's team. but for your own benefit. So now we go to the wild card comp. Sarah Beth, Frenchie, and Brent are gonna play. Frenchie feels that he has to secure his safety. Why? You're so confident. You're so confident that everything's gonna be okay. It's a 1 to 10. The mood swings. Frenchie and Kylan talk. Frenchie says something about if Kylan can secure his safety, he will be a ride or die for Kylan. And then Frenchie goes on to explain that he feels very shaky about this conversation. Now Frenchie decides to go the opposite direction and snubs the Slaughterhouse Alliance and starts bad-mouthing them one by one. Then we go into the house guests discussing one by one that Frenchie's a loose cannon. He's too unpredictable. Then we go to Frenchie saying, I have snakes in the grass and I need a lawnmower. He's a little dramatic. I'm sorry. I have no hate for Frenchie. It's a game. But dude, like, you came in so hard and so fast. So we hear Whitney say that she's done. She has resigned herself from the Frenchie train. So now we're playing the wild card comp. It takes place in an art gallery. They have to pick the last color shown on the screen. The first person to get 3 points wins the wild card comp, and that is Sarah Beth. Then we go to Frenchie saying he feels he's in danger after his loss. So after Sarah Beth wins, they explain the twist to the wild card comp, and in order to keep her safety, she has to trade places with someone on Kylan's team, which would affect the whole balance of the game because these people have bonded they're pretty much, I mean, they came in as groups, but they've become alliances. I mean, I don't think that, I mean, maybe Team Queens, which is Christian, Xavier, Alyssa, and Sarah. Maybe they've decided like they're just going together because they're the strongest group in the house. But I don't think that there's final fours in these alliances other than that one. So she declines the offer and forfeits safety to stay with her team. Tiffany talks to Kylan again warning him about Frenchie and calls him a snake. One by one, the majority of the house guests come up and reiterate that we have Derek X, Alyssa, Claire, Hannah, Sarah, Brent, and Whitney. Brittany, on the other hand, is still Team Frenchie. She comes up and says, well, what you really need to do is beware of the duos, which is true. But I think Kylan has tunnel vision. I thought, I got the feeling that Brittany was just a pawn, and I think it's kind of like a 60-40 split with that, to get Frenchie out. But Kylan isn't feeling Brittany, and we learned that in the diary room. He's just not, he doesn't have a connection with her. They've never talked game. Brittany doesn't really discuss a lot of game outside of Frenchie, Derek X, and Azza, which is the team jokers. Then we have the nom ceremony. Kylan says, Frenchie, on day 3, you came to me about trust and working together. And people have come to me and said that that wasn't the case. As we've learned, especially if you're watching these feeds. To Brittany, he said that he nominated her so that if Frenchie won, or if she won the veto, she couldn't take Frenchie down. Which, I mean, she could, technically, but then you'd still be nominated, right? At this point, there is so much Frenchie missed, like, it wouldn't surprise me. It really wouldn't surprise me. Not at all. So he explains that is the incentive, to keep safety. Okay, so now we go into the feeds. So I'll go into a little bit about Saturday night. Like, I don't really have notes for Saturday night, but I can tell you that a couple things happened. First of all, Whitney called Frenchie out, and they sat down and had a long discussion about Whitney was questioning him. She put him on the spot, and she's like, well, why have you done this to me in our alliance? Like, why are you doing this? Like, what is happening? What is the deal with this? And Frenchie just tries to railroad. And then he starts saying, well, I came in here with a lot of problems going on. I have a lot of stuff going on in my head. I'm so sorry. And she's asking, what are you sorry for? What? Tell me specifically what you're sorry for. He won't do it. He won't admit any kind of wrong. He just won't. He's not doing it. He starts to try to cry and says that it's a problem because his closest relationships in his life are with women, meaning his wife, his sister, and his mom. But he can't trust women, so that's what the problem was. Like, he threw Whitney under the bus because although he wanted to, he couldn't fully trust her because he has problems with females. That's a big thing in this house, is females. They call women female, not women. So if I'm saying females, that's why. So they don't get anywhere. But good for Whitney for calling him out and making him at least trying. And Whitney's playing a really good game, but again, she's a guy's girl, and she seems to be opening up more to the women in the house, but I hope that she doesn't close herself off, because I think she's going to be a good competitor, and she's thinking. I had really high hopes for her in the beginning. Well, it's funny. When she did her print interview, I was like, I don't know. But now I start to like her more and more, but then I worry. So another thing that I wanted to point out is Azah. She's coming back out of her shell, but I think Azah is so overwhelmed with all of last week. She retreated, and she's kind of has a little of BB PTSD with last week. So I think maybe she's having a hard time being so open with people, but she does seem to be coming out of it a little bit. And on Saturday night, Frenchie was going to self-evict. Well, that's what he said. I think he just said it so that it's like YouTube. When somebody's like, I'm quitting my channel, or I'm shutting my channel down, or I'm not going to, because you want people to be like, oh, no, don't ever do that. No. If you're going to leave, leave. His reasoning is, if he doesn't self-evict, then he's going to be stuck in a hotel room for 4 more weeks away from his kids. No, you won't. If that were an option when you left, you say no. You say, no, thank you. I want to go home. But everything is so dramatic. And pro tip, if you're gonna self-evict, don't go on the show. It's really a disappointment, especially when you're claiming to be a super fan, all these other things. So he doesn't self-evict. The only person that buys into it is Derek Frazier, and he's freaking out. Oh, Frenchie, no, and whatever. And that's, I thought that Derek F was going to be a really strong player as well. I don't think he really knows the game. I could be wrong. I mean, I think he knows like the Janelle and the fanfare of the game, but I don't think he knows like the strategy of the game. And if you're listening to my channel, like I'm not huge on like, well, this one should go with this one to do this thing. Like I'm more into like the social aspect of it. So if you're coming here for like strategy, I'm probably not the one. But hit the like button. I'm more into like the relationships of it all, but I don't really think he knows. He's thinking ahead, like some of the other people in the game. Let's see. Oh, then Frenchie fashions a fishing pole out of a pull stick and his shoelaces, so that's fun. So they fish for floaties in the pool. He gets Azah, or no, did Azah play? I don't think Azah played. He gets Sarah Beth to play, Kylan to play. That was fun. That was like a fun, lighthearted moment. And on Sunday, Frenchie was of the attitude, because it changes all the time. And I think it changed again today, and that's what the drama's about. Not sure. But yesterday was a very chill day. Like he had accepted that he's going home. He seemed very even keel. Well, publicly. And then we get to something later. Let's see. Azah and Kylan discuss that Kylan is seeing a lot more angles being HOH because people are coming to him, sharing information. So now we get to a budding showmance between Christian and Alyssa. These two couldn't get any closer physically. So Bolo, I'm almost positive that's gonna happen, so watch out for that. Christian proposes a showmance to her on the hammock, and he's explaining his bullet points on why it would be a good thing. She seems kind of 50-50 on it, but you can see she's really warming up to that idea. And I do think like they really do have they're very similar in personalities, and they have a good rapport. I mean, I don't think it's the best thing for your game to be in a showmance, but it's gonna happen somewhere. So, and then we get into that a little later with another two. Let's see. Then there's like a little tension between Tiffany and Azah I want to say they were in the choral room talking, and Azah feels that Tiffany's being a little short with her, and I think Tiffany's trying to tell everyone throughout the day, like, she just needs a moment to breathe because it's all so much. Same with Azah. Like, Azah retreated because there was so much going on. Like, she needed to just take a minute. And Tiffany is a different personality type, so she's very extroverted, but I think it's gotten to her. She explains that she just needs to be able to breathe. Like, she's just got everyone coming at her, and they are, because everybody loves Tiffany. I'm trying to think if there's anyone in the house who doesn't confide in her. I don't think, I mean, well, obviously Frenchie, like, that's kind of a little more closed off because their relationship is a little more tense now. Nothing dramatic, but I'm pretty sure everybody in the house is a fan of Tiffany's. Azah, they continue to talk, and Azah explains that she feels alone for believing in Frenchie, and she's worried about it. I think Azah will be fine. Derek F. and Brittany, I'm not sure about, because they seem to be more closed off about other possibilities other than Frenchie. But Azah, I think Azah can turn it around and make it work. Tiffany's discussing throughout the day that she wants to get an alliance together between the Team Kings, Team Queens, and Derek X. And everybody's coming around now to the idea that Derek X isn't a bad guy at all. He got pigeonholed into this scapegoat by Frenchie the first week because he needed somebody to pin things on, I guess. So even Sarah is coming around to Derek X being a nice guy. And thank goodness, because that was so unfortunate. So now we have Frenchie alone in the backyard talking to the cameras. Well, he says he's talking to his kids, and I guess he is, but he seems very angry. He just seems very hostile towards the house. He is venting that he only trusts Sarah, Derek F., and Tiffany. I get why he trusts Derek F. and Tiffany, and not that you shouldn't trust Sarah, but I feel like he trusts Sarah as one of the three because that was like one of the last people that he had spoken to before he was having this chat with the camera, and that's how Frenchie operates. Like, whoever invested in him emotionally in a conversation in the last moments is who he trusts in that moment, and then, you know, who knows the next day. But he is just he's going off on about how he looks very angry, and he's talking about how you can't trust anyone in this game, and they're all out to get you, and they all threw him under the bus, and he was manipulated. I'm sorry, sir. What's that expression when you're pointing fingers? They turn it around on something like that. I don't know. Then Frenchie and Sarah talk again. Or maybe this was before. I think this was before. Because I had to do flashbacks last night because my boyfriend was really wanting me to watch this Shark Week thing, so I had to do flashbacks. So sorry if this is a little out of order. I think this is the only one that is. Then Sarah Beth and Frenchie talk, and Frenchie says that he isn't going to campaign because he's a team player. What happened last week before you made your nominations and you refused to talk to any of your teammates about who you were going to nominate? But okay. He's a team player and he doesn't want to go against Brittany. He says that he says it a couple times to Brittany throughout the day too, and then he says, or Sarah says that she was worried about him last night, and he said that he seemed bothered because he was going to self-evict. And he says it's family things, stuff at home. He's been worried about it the whole time. Was that like when you were talking to Whitney and you were trying to manipulate the situation and get out of being the bad guy and cry and talk about how it's everyone else's fault? Because I feel like that's another manipulation. Then this is a funny moment. They have a story, they're talking about like their hometowns, and Frenchie's talking about that his mind is blown that he can't see stars in the sky in the Big Brother house. He couldn't see them in LA at the hotel either. And they're trying to explain to him, well, Tiffany was trying to explain to him that he can't see the stars because of all the studio lighting, right? I can't see stars either because I live in a high-rise in a major city, and there's the lights drown it out. I remember the first time I saw stars, I was at the beach as a kid, and I didn't know what was happening. And my dad was like, those are stars. But I had never seen them before. So he explains that Nashville is a major city that he lives 40 miles outside of. So they shouldn't be able to have stars in Nashville either. It was just a funny moment. And then this is so irrelevant, but it's just so, it's like he just wants to fight about it. So then Derek X, who lives in Manhattan, he's trying to explain that he can't see stars either because the buildings and whatever, it's irrelevant. Then they're just having chit chat, and then then later on, Frenchie is giving Brittany game advice and says that if he stays, he will go crazy. He will lose his mind. Everyone on his hit list will go home, and because he will win HOH next week, and he will get revenge on anyone who turned on him. He's tired of the jock game of Big Brother. And he and Brittany are going to win HOH back to back in the vetoes, and they're going to take the whole thing. Here's the thing with this season of Big Brother. I mean, yeah, sure. Like, Travis was, I guess, a bro. Christian, not so much. Christian's a lot deeper than that. I don't get where there's like this status quo of bro or jocks in the house. I think the strongest players in this game are Derek X, and he hasn't even seen the game. But he is very competitive and he's very strategic. Tiffany, Kylan, but Kylan he's very open with information, but he's also limiting his information. Claire is a contender, but I don't see this being like a Jack Jackson situation. I really don't. If you want to tell me what you think in the comments, like, I don't see it being like a bro, jock, dude, whatever you want to call it. I don't see it being that way. And thank goodness, because I think we've all had enough of that. Then he goes on to say, these are quotes: "America needs you, Brittany. If you send me home, you might as well call it Big Jock, Big Brother." Wait, I thought that you just told Brittany to save herself and that there's no reason in keeping you. I'm so confused. Then Brittany goes over her speech again. She's been doing this since Saturday. I think it gives her comfort, like, because she has something repetitive she has something to remember. It's like, I think Brittany's very task-oriented, I get the feeling. And it just makes her feel better. She'll notice when Brittany starts getting nervous. She's like, let me go over my speech again. And I think that's for Thursday night, not the speech for the veto. Then we have a Joker's meeting, which is Derek F., Brittany, and Azah. They're discussing the game. Brittany tells them that she'll throw any HOH to any of them. She wants to get the attention off of her. I think that's I think she's reading the room a little wrong there. And then Derek F. argues with her, no. Like, if you're gonna win it, win it. Like, we need anything we can take. And then Derek goes on to say that he's worried that the season is boring. No, sir, it is not. But things really will die down if Frenchie does leave on Thursday. I mean, I know, like, as much of a hassle that I give Frenchie, but because I think a lot of it is so unnecessary, I do think that obviously the drama will die down. But on the other hand, you're really seeing, like, in these past few days, well, the past couple days, like, people are really coming out of their shells, and you're seeing the real true people now. So the niceties are limited. Well, not limited, but they're, you know what I mean? They're starting to get real. What do they say in the real world? Where things start getting real? I don't know. Okay. Derek F. also goes in. Derek F. he's had a target on Derek X since the very beginning. And he's talking to Azah about it. Azah said, no, you shouldn't be that worried about Derek X. Like, he's not the problem. Like, don't even first you need to worry about Christian and Whitney. Now I'm going to bring the Tiffany thing up again. Nobody has Tiffany's name in their mouth. Nobody. The only time I've ever heard anyone say anything about Tiffany, I think it was Christian, maybe it was Brent, who said nobody will ever vote Tiffany out. She's great. She's a mom. That's the only thing I've ever heard. But it's early. I mean, we're on week 2. Then Brent is discussing showmances. Brent really likes to mansplain everything. He calls the girls little derogatory pet names, and they giggle about it. I have a feeling that's going to come up as a segment in the diary room. He's talking to Whitney. He's saying, they could have had a showmance, and Whitney's agreeing, but they agree like they're too much alike. And then Whitney said that in the diary room she updated her crush from Brent to someone else, and I think everyone knows that. Well, I hope I'm right. I think that's Xavier. He says he couldn't be with Hannah because she's too meek. No, Hannah's just laying low. He couldn't be with Alyssa because she would be too jealous. That's a leap, but okay. So now we're late into the night. Brittany and Azah are talking. Brittany feels bad about Frenchie. She feels that the house is bullying him, and I have to disagree. Nobody's bullying Frenchie. Frenchie's been isolating himself for since Friday, really. And when he does come out, he's despondent. I mean, Whitney called him out, and people have been bad-mouthing him in the house, but they're not, no one is outright in his face, calling him names. I don't think that that's bullying. I don't know. Tell me what you think. I don't think it's bullying. I think that's just human nature. If you have someone that came in there like a tornado and kind of, I mean, let's face it, like when he was HOH, he had the whole house in a room, like, minus 2 people, and he was calling everybody out for their game moves, like putting them on blast. that affected their game. And I'd be irritated, and I might say like, hey, that person, what kind of alliance is that? If you're not looking out for me at all. But I don't know, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm from a different generation where people might not be as sensitive. I don't think that's bullying. I think that's Big Brother. And to be honest, from seasons I've seen past, I think they're being very kind to Frenchie after all that he's done. I really do. And again, that might be an unpopular opinion, but a lot of past seasons, he would have been ostracized, and that they're not treating him that way. They're trying to let him have his last few days, and they're talking about like family and stars in Nashville. I don't agree with it. So now we're wrapping up the end of the night, and we have Kylan, Claire, Tiffany in the HOH room. They're gonna, Tiffany and Claire are gonna spend the night in the HOH room. Kylan sleeps in between them over the covers, which is just such a Kylan thing, I would imagine. And they're talking. Tiff points out about how charismatic Brent is, and she's a little concerned about that, about him being able to, about him convincing people of things in the game. And then she talks about Frenchie, and she basically just says everything I just said a minute ago. That his behavior is so erratic. He's one way one minute, one way the next. It's just, he's a loose cannon. And she feels bad for him that he's in the situation he's in, but he made his bed. And that's where her head is. And I think that's probably, I mean, I think Frenchie has a lot to do why she was a little saltier earlier in the day, because it got to her. And you have to live with these people, and you have to put on a nice face, and everything's fine. And she's having to rein herself in, and it's hard for her. I mean, that would be hard for anybody. So there you go. That's what I have for today. I don't know. I was doing little snippets, like I was doing shorts on like the NAM and the POV winner earlier in the week, last week. If I find out what this thing was today that happened, that I guess like this drama, I know they cut the feeds. If I find out what that is, I will hop back on for a couple minutes and let you guys know. But until then, thank you guys so much for joining me. Don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe if you haven't, if you'd like to. And I will see y'all again soon. Love you guys. Thank you. Bye.